always just joining them down like that into the thing, and you just get them lost in here. They just lose into this area here. They just get lost. So the big spaces make them wetter, and then as they dry paler, you can see them drying paler there. They suggest the trees are farther away. Put that in like that. A couple of smaller ones here. Just start from somewhere and just keep joining the brushes up and making sure that you get them broader as you come down through. And then all you do is lose them don't take them all the way at the bottom, just lose them in that area there. Do a slightly darker one just there. But these are only going up halfway, don't go right to the top. Into there like that, down there. And then you've got these 2 or 3 over here. And these want to be just slightly taller, so just in there, about halfway up that main tree there, so just in there, fine brush down, put more pressure on it as you're coming down and movement, so that you're filling it out a bit more, and again lose it, and then from there, just a couple of flicks down to join in with it as you're coming down, so you're just flicking down. Like I said, you get used to it in the end and just drag them down, but not sort of joining to the same spot, so you don't have like, 3 coming out of the same area. And in the end you'll find you just start putting trees in. A bit more strength in that. Vary them, so this one here can be a little bit wider and a little bit longer. So I'm pulling it down, starting at the top and fetching some more finer branches down. Joining them eventually onto that. A few finer ones there which join eventually onto that, and then a main one up there. You can see them on there, but there's more trees out the window if you want to have a look at them. But the main thing is just you're not going mad on lots of millions of branches. I'll show you how to do them in one second after you've done this bit. In fact, I'll do this bit now and then you can see. And then a sort of a more thinner, a more wetter one here, I suppose. It looks the same, but it's wetter, so it'll go paler and feel as though it's more distant. I'll tell you what, do the branches like that, and then I'll show you how to make them look finer and wet. Ignore these 3 main ones in here. So it's just Payne's grey and a fine brush.
Yes, we should have filled Darry. Yeah, we'll have to find it. That's what we've done wrong.
Right, what you're going to do now is paint in the softer branches on these trees you've just done, right? And all you're going to do is put a broken wash into them of Payne's grey, and then they'll look like the distant fuzziness of the branches. So you don't want it dead heavy, you just want a wet Payne's grey and quite watery. And a bigger brush, something, you don't want to be too small with it. So it's fairly wet wash. And again, you use the side of the brush, and what you do is you start from outside of the top of the trees. You don't want the wash to start in the tree so that the branches are sticking up out of it. This is meant to look as though they're the finer branches above that tree. So you start above these little ones you've all painted in, you start above them with the Payne's grey, with the side of the brush, and you feather them in like that. So you just keep wetting your brush, and you feather them, and you aim down to the centre of the tree. So you aim downwards like that, and you don't fill it in solid. You just aim it downwards into the bole of the tree like that. So can you see that? That's like your finer, your finer branches.
Yeah.
Can you see? So you do that all along the ones you've just done. So these here, just above them, you go above it and feather it down. If you get too dark like that one is, just wet into it and feather it down. And leave gaps. Leave gaps so the tree looks as though, you know, like you've got space between it. Don't sort of feel the need to make it solid. So above there, side of the brush, feather it down. Above that one, side of the brush, feather it down. These two, the bigger ones, leave the bigger ones because we're going to do a bit more yellow ochre into them after. So it's just the ones you've just painted in. So side of the brush, feather it down to join the tree trunk like that. Into there, straight through any of the other trees. Don't panic on them. So through there, above the trees, so they come down into them like that. Start at the top and work your way down like that. Putting more pressure on, must be stronger, till you meet the next branch. So just coming down like that. And you don't have to do lots because we're going to do the same. We're going to do the same thing as what we did with them in the background. So you want odd ones like that. What you do this is if you've got thick trunks, then you taper down to meet them. So you taper down like that, and you come down and you gradually meet the thicker trunk that you've got and soften it out. So a couple of little branches then. That's about all you want on these. You don't need them to be too big. You can go underneath some of the masking and just touch the odd bit in. Don't paint a massive dark line right along the bottom. Just a few flicks to suggest shadows and branches. Now this one here, just a wet Payne's grey. Start the top fine and come down it on the left hand side with your Payne's grey and make it squiggly a bit. Don't make it a dead clean neat line, make it squiggly, getting it thicker as you come down through here, and then a few thick flicks is what I was trying to say there, a few flicks off it to suggest a few branches down there. Take that down there, taper it to the top, and then just get a damp brush and just sort of soften it into the white a little bit, just the damp brush and soften it to white, and then with a little bit of Payne's grey just flick off a little odd branch here and there like that. Just nothing too heavy. You don't want lots of long ones, just a few flicks off there, and that just tapers out of there. This main one here, same principle, Payne's grey. Start higher up, come down with a fine branch just where your masking is. Start somewhere else and fetch it to meet it. Broaden it out and broaden it out so when it meets that it's the same sort of thickness. So thinner, start farther away from it. Fetch something to join up to it, build it up, go under your masking a little bit, down to meet that. A few thinner strokes. This one, same principle. Need a thinner brush would be fine. Just thin lines, just next to your whites, so you're just coming in amongst your whites. Always start somewhere else, catch that one up, and then join it. Don't join it to where there's another one joining. Take it farther down and join it there. You don't want three coming off at the same spot. That just doesn't look right. Right, and then these ones where you've got the masking, just go underneath them. Take them to the edge of the tree, underneath them, underneath where your masking is. Take it and join it up with that tree. Drag the odd branch out under that masking, under that one, and then down here under these branches that you've got there with your Payne's grey, just underneath the snow. Right, once you've got that one done, just get a little bit of sort of yellow. Just a little bit of wet yellow, nothing heavy, just fairly wet, and just run it into the Payne's grey and fuzz it out a little bit so you get that feeling of like ivy on the tree a little bit. Sort of wet it and fuzz it out, you know what I mean? Yeah. Just work it into the Payne's grey and just wet it and fuzz it out so it gives it a more broken, softer feel. You have to work the Payne's grey a little bit for it to dissolve and into there. Now if you've got too much white, or the trees look as though they're coming from out the middle of everything. Just get yourself little bits of burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and just drag in amongst them a bit to break them up. So if you think you've got a tree that's looking too distinct, just drag a blur of burnt sienna in amongst it, like that, right? Everybody all right on that then? That's all you need to do for the trees. Then I'll tell you what, I'll do the wash on it now, so you don't all start wondering where it's at. I'll do the washes into this tree, and then you know what you're doing. I have to find some more of my brushes. My brushes are all over the place, so I have to find some that's about the size. That's all right, I just need a brush. Now, this is the same as what you did with the Payne's Grey, except you're going to do it with the yellow ochre. So you're going to get a wash of yellow ochre, really watery, and you're going to do the same principle as what you've done with them. Start above the branches, right, and drag it down with the broken yellow ochre into the branches. You don't have to go all the way through them, just leaving some gaps. So you're starting with the broken yellow ochre into these branches like that, down through the edge. Then get a little bit of your wet Payne's Grey, just really watery again, really watery, and drop some of that into it. You don't need to sort of do it again. You just drop it into the bottom parts of some of these wet yellow ochres, so they just float up and give you little bits of trees just in the top, like that. I'll do the other one and then I'll turn it over and show you. So wet yellow ochre from the outside of the tree, drag down into it, and get the sort of shape of the tree, the curve of the tree, down through some of the branches, down here, a few little bits here and there, even though you haven't got any branches, just a few little bits. Then get your wet Payne's Grey and drop that in. Oops, too strong, just fairly wet. Just drop that in round the bottom of some of these bits, and you see how it loosens the branches that you've got. The Payne's Grey loosens a bit, and that way you get a more softer feel to this tree. If you think you've got it too dark, all you do then is just drop water in the tops a little bit, and it pushes the Payne's Grey back. So that's sort of how you get your top trees done. Right? So if you paint the tree, this is why I'm telling you, you don't need to paint too many branches.